What's going on, everybody? We are back again on the podcast. Guest tonight is from Minnesota. I know we're just bleeding that state dry with the paranormal and the Bigfoot and the aliens from Minnesota. It's really hotbed. But welcome back to the podcast, everybody. And this is the Caffeinated Cryptid. I got my sequence down. My notes are all messed up. Forgive me for that. But this is the Caffeinated Cryptid. You know, all-purpose stop for paranormal, lighthearted, got coffee. I had a monster on my drive home a while ago, so I am not having coffee tonight. I just need to come off of it a little bit. I need to come down. But tonight's guest is Heidi Steffens.
Hi.
And I have other notes. I am discombobulated. I got it all messed up when I had to refresh a while ago. I'm sorry. This isn't like me. It doesn't matter. She's owner of My Spirit Experience over in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, probably next to a lake, and can be found at myspiritexperience.com, which also features a podcast, My Spirit Experience podcast. Heidi is a master Reiki instructor, which we're going to focus on a lot because I keep having people skim the Reiki subject, but nobody ever wants to dive deep. An ordained shamanic,
yep.
Shamanic, yeah. I get that word, shamanic minister. In her free time, she's been known to organize things for the Minnesota Paranormal Research Society. You can check them out over at MinnesotaParanormal.com and co-hosting Gathering, which is a weekly paranormal show over on ParaXRadioNetwork.com. And her spirit experiences started as a young lady, and they are still going to this day for what I'm reading. And how's it going up there in the Great White North?
Excellent.
Heidi?
I mean, it's summertime, so we're good. Mm-hmm. Good cryptid time.
It's only 110 here.
Oh, yeah, no. That we don't do well with that here. We're in the cold state, so 110 we would be not well.
I swear to God, this morning I looked, it was 92. Feels like 113. You could bake cookies on your dashboard.
Nope.
Do you know the she squatchers?
Yeah. Yep.
I noticed you had a couple squatching pictures there. I didn't know if you were with them, you're going out with them or not.
No, I'm not a member of their group. I do know some of them. I don't know how much the group has changed since they originated, but I do know a couple of the gals in that group.
I think they dropped a couple members. They used to have 5, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, now
not
they're
familiar.
Down to Jen and Jenna and Tammy.
Oh, okay. Yep, I know Jen and Jenna, and I was a member of Squatchers for a while.
Squatchers, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's a different group, and I was a member of that group. I was one of the founding members of that group, and we did that. I did that for a couple of years, and then I'm busy, so I'm an honorary member, I believe, still of that group.
That squatching takes like weeks and days out of your life. I'd like to do it, but I don't know if I could get away. I've been invited up to northern Minnesota several times. I'm like, that's a week's worth of leave for me.
Well, yeah, when you have to do some serious driving to get somewhere to investigate and get out in the woods, yeah, you need some serious vacation time. So, yeah, if you have places like we do here that you can drive an hour, a couple hours, it makes it a little easier where you can just go on a day or a weekend. We've done some overnight trips, which is always interesting. But, it's nice when you have somewhere that's somewhat close to get to.
I think there's several down here where I'm at. I'm in northern Alabama, by the way, so there's plenty of woods. But it's just in the summertime, whenever, like you said, it's a good time for the cryptids. It's also a good time for everything else down here that wants to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
And, and I told Jen the other day, she posted a picture from one of my favorite places from Randy Bauer's farm in Black Duck, Minnesota.
Oh, sure.
And I said, what's it like? I said, what's life like without rattlesnakes? I mean, you can just tromps around all you want. No worries.
Yeah,
jealous.
We've got other things that'll try and kill you out in the woods too. So I'm a fan of winter squatching myself because of the bug factor is non-existent. So I'd
I heard the
rather
bugs
put
were
my
awful up there.
snowshoes on and go out in the winter and do a little squatching in the wintertime.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I heard the bugs were awful up there, which is
Yep.
it's insane.
There's small airplanes take you away.
See them on radar. Well, let me ask you about this. The Reiki. What exactly is that? I want to have like a 101 Reiki course right now, to be selfish.
Sure. So Reiki is channeling healing energy for the highest good of a recipient. And it's channeling life force energy, divine source energy, wherever you want to believe that that comes from. If you have a divine source you believe in, or just a um, a conscious collective, we'll say, energy, it's channeling this divine light healing energy through a practitioner into a recipient. Now, the recipient could be the practitioner. You could be channeling Reiki for yourself or channeling it for someone else, and it's to promote their highest self-healing possible at that time.
It's just been because I hear actually Jen, She Squatcher, said she was doing some Reiki rituals up on the farm there,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the
Mm-hmm.
wood stirred up.
Yeah,
You have
Reiki, I mean, you can use it for anything. It doesn't have to be just
Mhm.
for humans. I've
Yeah.
done Reiki for, in areas where there's been traumatic events on the land. And there was a Hinkley fire up here in Minnesota that was devastating and thousands died. And I did a ritual up there to channel healing energy for the earth energy, not just the people that died, but the earth that was just scorched and traumatized. So Reiki can be beneficial for anything.
You have any of the Native American connections?
Not
Like
personally. I mean, I have acquaintances and friends, but,
Mhm.
not personally that I'm connected to.
Okay, yeah, I knew there was a lot of crosstalk between them. The Venn diagram between people that use the spiritual healing and Reiki and
Mm.
have a Native American descent.
Well, and I think Reiki can be, I mean, it's one more path to
Mhm.
kind of the same outcome. There's so many different modalities of healing that all go to the same kind of place. We're looking for this divine healing, and there's so many ways to channel that energy or to manifest it or to call upon it. So it's just another form.
Okay, yeah, so it's probably just like the same similar technology, basically. Dumb it down, kind of like using just another means to an end as
Hmm.
far as that kind of medicine goes. Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense now because people would just glance over it and say it like, "Whoa, whoa, what?" And then the conversation would be gone. I'm like, I guess I'll watch a YouTube video on that one of these
No,
days.
I could talk about Reiki all day because I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of sessions. And so yeah, I could talk about it all day long. So don't, you want to get me started, we can do this.
I may have to do it. I'm just thinking like, so if I come to your shop, your building there where you're at, and I have what kind of ailment would you say would qualify for a Reiki or issue, not ailment, issue?
Well, no, you don't have to have anything
Okay.
wrong, or I mean, Reiki is for the benefit of whatever your highest good is calling for at that time. So
Oh,
it could be, just to help you find, peace. If you're working on something, or just, working on mindfulness. If you're feeling good, everything's good. It might help you move forward on a new endeavor, just to align your energies to get ready for something like that. It's so interesting how it works. It works in ways that we can't possibly understand on some level. So nobody has to have something, I guess, wrong with
yeah,
them
yeah.
to do it, which is why it's so amazing.
Okay, so it's more like a vitamin make you better than something.
Sort of. Yeah. I
Sort of.
mean,
I'm trying to
no
compare it here.
results.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we can't guarantee any results, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna work. It's like your higher self is saying, "Here's what I need right now," and then we tap into this collective energy, this healing collective, and channel energy for your highest good for that. So I may not know what we're going to be working on. You might not even know what we're going to be working on. It's just whatever your soul is saying, this is for my highest good today. That's what the energy is going to move towards.
Sounds like I need to find a practitioner in the area here.
Oh,
It's
I
like
could do it
face.
remote.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I have to
Yep.
schedule a sesh.
There you go.
I've been like teetering on that kind of thing in the last few years. I've become obsessed with my angel number,
Okay.
and that was something else I was gonna run by you there. I don't understand. Like you know when you have an angel number, it's not just 444. Mine's just a number. It's
Mhm.
like 58, but it's not.
Mhm.
That's not the number. I don't know if I can say it and it'll ruin it, like a birthday wish or something. That's the reason I
Yeah.
don't give it out. But I
Good.
don't want to chance it
If you
because
don't wanna
right
give it
now,
out, then you shouldn't.
yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to ruin it because the one time I did tell somebody, that person and my friendships ended that day. I'm like, oh, what did I do?
Oh,
It was
then
weird because
don't
he got
don't say it.
yeah. But I'm just wondering, like, you have an angel number 58, and it might say that this means that you have a good relationship, make it stronger, and your angels are helping you with your decisions. Like, should I go to those sites and look and see what they mean? Like sun sign and sacred scribes.
Well, I mean,
There's about a half
it's
dozen.
it's cool if you can. Yeah, there's a ton of
Yeah.
books and sites out there that talk about angel numbers, and angel numbers can be really cool. I
Hmm.
anything anybody asks me like, what does this mean? It doesn't matter what it is. If it's an animal, it's a spirit number, it doesn't matter. What I would recommend anybody do is just stop and be quiet and just kind of center yourself and feel what does it make you feel? What does it make you think about? Or, it doesn't matter if you can't put words to it. It's just how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel safe, comforted, happy, protected, whatever it is?
Hmm.
That's what I would do first. And then if you look it up and it sounds cool, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool too. That's always great. I mean, looking stuff up, we have this amazing tool with the internet.
Hmm.
Why not? Just look it up. But I always recommend people to stop and kind of ask them, what does it feel like to me first before I look it up? Because when you're looking something up, and I have all these amazing spirit animal books and things like that, and they're great. They're a nice resource, but I'm going to ask, like, what does this make me feel first before I look anything up? Because that really, to me, is going to be the true message. And that's the most important thing. So if it doesn't match then what you look up and see on the internet or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's fine. But I would always take what feels right for me first before I'd worry about what the internet says.
That makes sense. It actually does match pretty well. That's what was
Good.
concerning me. I'm like, this is but it matches, but it's also used in like a way of like if I see it and I'm having a really tough time with something, it'll pop into a combination, like you know, like say the number on a dollar bill, something like that, a receipt at a gas station, or my
Hmm.
gas tank, my gas amount will be that amount, and I'll say like to myself like, okay, well that makes sense, and I'll just quit worrying about it. And
Yep.
it's almost, I say, all it's 100% effective. Now, a couple of times I think I was just trying to see it and stress it, but when it comes out, when I'm in a real bind and it just pops in, like there it is. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
I'll just chill
Yep.
out.
Yep. And that's those interesting communications or spirit connections that we have
Hmm.
that, when we notice it and then we keep noticing it, that's what I think is so powerful because, there's so often people could dismiss it and go, oh, that's just a coincidence. Oh, well, that's weird. That's odd. And I just think there's no coincidence really. If it's happening, if it's coming up, then there's a reason. And what does it make you feel first? And if it always comes up and it has forever and ever, then yeah, that might be one of your numbers or your
Hmm.
signs or whatever it is. And maybe it only comes up for a while, you mentioned the number 58. Well, let's say it's 55, right? And so you're
Hmm.
seeing fives all the time or 555 or whatever. And when I'm looking in, because I do tarot readings. And so I don't do a lot with
Hmm.
numerology, but tarot. And I look at tarot and I look at the number 5 in tarot, and there's a lot of change. It's kind of the middle of the run of cards. And so it's all about change. And so there have been times in my life where I'll see fives all over the place. And when I think about it first, I think about it does to me mean change. And so I look at what's going on in my world or my life or my day or whatever, and it's, oh yeah, there's some change happening. And it's interesting how when I kind of moved through the change, the fives disappear like
Hmm.
that. I may not see them as often or at all until maybe the next time around when some cool stuff is happening.
That's interesting. So 55 was one of mine before, and it has disappeared.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it went from 55. I think when I was first noticing it, 55 was just something I caught on, and it was happening whenever I felt a certain way. Then it moved to 52, and then it's where it is now, and it's
Okay.
stayed where it is now, almost like I should get a tattoo on my arm.
Oh,
Like I've thought about it. Like I don't want to have to explain it though, but
right. And then you have to tell people.
like yeah, I'm like yeah, look, I am nuts. So I had this branded on my arm with a coat hanger,
Oh,
but but uh, but what's funny is looking back, that number is in my wife's phone number since I met her. That number is in both my grandparents' phone numbers. I'm like this is
cool.
wild. Like,
That's
it
cool.
goes back,
That might be a
and
keeper.
yeah, I mean, I put out the message like I'm going to trust this and test it. I've tested it and it worked, and so
Cool.
I kind of like that. And I'll see something, I'll see it like at random times in the day when stuff's just hitting the fan, and I'm like, okay, really? Why we gotta do this now? I'm like, if you want me to do this, just make it happen.
Oh no. That's not how it works. You know,
Heaven forbid.
yeah, well, right. But sometimes, it's just that kind of stuff is supposed to stop us from where we're at mentally or emotionally. And it is to just give us like a reset, instead
Mhm.
of having kind of a meltdown or, you know, kind of spinning out of control or going down a rabbit hole. Maybe we do see that number and it kind of brings us back to center and just, it could just be spirit's way of putting a hand on your shoulder and saying, hey, just relax for a second, take a deep breath, and we'll get through this
Like you know how
or
it's going.
whatever it's supposed to mean. So, yeah, very cool.
What I've enjoyed doing now that I'm kind of testing it more because it really hit home last year with something that I really needed to happen and make happen, and they kept giving me the sign in the correspondence with the particular event, and I'm like I'm going to test this and it's going to happen, and sure enough, I felt like I felt like what happened was a complete miracle
Wow.
because I thought I was just careening off the edge. It was a big test I had to take, and it was
Mm,
all the signs were in there, and I'm like, there's no way I passed. And all of a sudden, ended and I passed. I'm like,
nice.
holy Jesus, there it is. But
Cool.
then there's the
Very cool.
fun times when I see the number happening during when something's hitting the fan, and it doesn't resolve itself like you think it would. Like, oh, this will resolve in a minute, and it might get worse and a little bit worse. And I still see the
Mhm.
sign. I'm like, well, this is going to be crazy the outcome. And I'm kind of going through that just over the last week because I'm in information technology and there's stuff going down, and I'm getting spit these signs left and right on the water
Mhm.
cooler and on the clock. I'm like, how's this going to end? This is going to be crazy. I'm going to get like a free pony ride out of this or something. I don't know what's going to end,
One
but
can
it's
hope.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm getting all these signs, and this is going to work out perfectly, and it just keeps getting worse.
Mhm.
And so when I know when it finally does get better, I'm gonna be like, well, that was insane. That may be one of those.
Well, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
It's
no, you knew what
interesting
I was
though
going to say.
because getting worse, it might feel like it's getting worse, but
Yeah,
also it could be spirit. If we're looking at the sign coming from spirit, it could be spirit's way of saying, just hang in there,
yeah,
you're going to get through this, or this is actually supposed to happen. And just because it doesn't work out and turn sunshine and roses for
hmm
whatever reason, it doesn't mean it's bad in the long run. Sometimes it
hmm
has to be that because we have to do some kind of shift, or the shift needs to happen for the greater good. And so it's just, again, it's kind of like that hand on the shoulder saying, hey,
yep.
just hang in there. We're going to get through this.
I've gotten to where I get excited when that's happening. I'm like, oh, what's the ending going to be? Because I never anticipated it to get worse or this to happen or like, man, when it does happen, it's always tenfold better.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm like, am I really doing this? Is this me? But yeah, I mean, it's high 90 percentiles, if not 100%.
Cool.
Whenever I feel it like that.
Awesome.
But then sometimes I wonder if sometimes I think I stress it to see it, but I think that's getting a lot less now that I understand what I'm dealing with
Hmm.
more and more.
Yep. Yep. Oh, that's cool.
Anytime I have a psychic on here, I'll ask them about that, and they'll say about the same thing. I'm fascinated. I'm always fascinated with it because I'm thinking, am I just being noticing patterns, or is this something that's happening? But yeah,
Well,
so far, so good.
yep. Yeah. So some of those things, I mean, if you have to go, that's weird, or wow, that's an interesting coincidence, then I'd pay attention to it.
hmm And and I've signed up for a paranormal convention to be a vendor. I'm just going to give away some swag, nothing fancy. About like somebody that goes to a college day from a junior college. But when the pamphlets, like, have you ever had a paranormal experience? And I'm like, yes. I mean, that's it. That's my experience. But it's been so strong that I feel like it accumulates into, it counts as something.
Cool.
Like
Yep.
I'm talking with angels.
That counts. That counts as a
Mhm.
paranormal experience for sure.
Did you ever deal with Randonautica when it was popular back in 2020?
Mm-mm.
It was it was an app on your phone. It came out during COVID because people couldn't go around people, just a couple of years. And you would type in, it would search for a random anomaly in coordinates and on anywhere in the world, and it used servers across the planet. And it
Huh.
would this is kind of relevant, but it's you'll freak out when you hear about it. And I did mine, just a couple of miles from where my grandmother lived. And it's way like I'm in North Alabama. She grew up. It's a sharecropper. It's an old plantation, like for lack of it's an old plantation is what it was. And you walk around, and they have the slave graveyards around there.
Mm.
And this rando knot took us around the slave graveyard, and I mean through the woods. And it's middle of the summer. Took us into a thicket. I walk into the thicket 40 or 50 yards. There's a clearing. In the middle of that clearing, it opens up. There's a box turtle right in the middle of the clearing, and that's what the coordinate took me to.
That's
Like,
cool.
that doesn't make any sense. Like when I think of the communications, that's one of the paranormal experiences I list as well.
I think so. I mean, it definitely a spirit experience,
Something was happening.
Yeah. That's very cool.
I don't understand the turtle.
Well, think about it as maybe a spirit animal, right?
Mhm.
To have the spirit animal connection that spirit leads you to this animal so that they can connect you with this animal instead of a number, right? You'd get an animal. And then you do the same thing, you look at, well,
Mhm.
this animal is right here. What is going on with this animal? Why would this thing lead me here? And then you just stop and feel into it and sit with it and say, well, what am I feeling when I think about this animal? When I look at this animal, how does it make me feel? What do I think about? And anyway, so that's what I would do. Same thing as the number.
Oh yeah, turtles are very respected in spirituality,
Hmm.
so it's not
Hmm.
bad news, as you may probably know.
No, I'd say is very very good sign.
What you do when you did that app is it says make an intention, like focus your intention towards something. And I think I
Okay.
would always do like perfect podcast guest. I think that's what I always try, because some people would do death, or like I'm like, why the hell would
What?
you ask this? Yeah, people
No.
find dead bodies with this app. It would lead them to like a random riverbank to a bridge and find dead bodies.
Nope.
It's insane. People
Nope.
get
I don't
chased
want
off
that.
people on the side of the road.
Nope.
Yep,
Have no
it
interest in
was
that.
wild. And the people and the guy that made the app didn't realize it would take off. And so he was getting $20,000 server bills each month. Yeah, he had
Whoops.
to shut it down.
Whoops.
Now, now you have to pay to use it.
Oh,
Yeah,
whoops.
Fritzy OP, we can hear you. I don't know who that is. Maybe one of your friends. Huh. So, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Chat's popping tonight. But yeah, that's just that. It's curious how you think, something's watching you. But I'm not really intimidated by that fact
When you
once they
think
start.
of like spirit?
Yeah, I don't really.
Mhm.
I kind of comforted by it because it means I'm not alone.
Right.
Like
And they're
I've
not
never experienced
watching.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like spying on you or that way. They're just present, they're present
Mhm.
and tuned into you, but they're not standing there staring at you, you know.
I can't imagine them caring that much to watch the whole time.
No, we're not that interesting when it
It can't
comes to
be.
like the day to day.
Like they're doing it again. Gross.
No.
That's what
Mm,
you always look.
nope.
Are the spirits in the bathroom with me?
Nope. They don't. Nope. That's not what they're around for, but they tune in for the good stuff, or when we're reaching out to them, or when we're in a situation, or just needing comfort, or we're feeling peaceful or gratitude or whatever. I mean, they're
Mhm.
around, but they're not just staring at us waiting for us to do the next thing, and that's not how they work.
Yeah, that would seem like a waste of being omnipresent,
Right.
or or what not omnipresent, but
The
being able to be an interdimensional traveler.
Right. Yeah, that would be, but they're here for, each one of us has our own spirit guides too. So they're with us, but it doesn't mean they're not working on other things for us or, to see, it's like all these you have all these managers, right? And they're all connecting with other managers to see like what's going
Mhm.
on, let's make sure we're aware of all the things that are possible. So they've got a lot that they're doing besides just hanging out with us, even though they're here for us.
What I think's crazy about basically just fate, what you're describing there, is how when you want something, you put it out there, and most people think, oh, it's going to happen in like 5 days, and
No.
you realize that they have to set these blocks up going forward to build up the path to make it fit all the different directions, and everybody, I can see him just in little board meetings, like, no, you said he was going to get a puppy on this day because he lost you, just something like that, but
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. And the thing about, I don't know, manifesting or calling something in is that
mhm,
sometimes it doesn't happen because that's actually better for us that it doesn't.
yeah,
So, we can put all sorts of stuff out there. I mean, think of all the wishes, that haven't been granted and we get all bummed out, but maybe that would have been not a good thing, if it would
yeah.
have happened or we would have gotten whatever it is that we wanted. So, yeah, they're busy. We keep them busy for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting everything I wanted it when I wanted it growing
No.
up and out of
Yeah.
college. I would have been, probably in a ditch somewhere. Like, just give me that job and anything. Just when in
Yeah.
reality, I had to wait like a year for a friend to have the job and get me in there. So I had somebody in there to vouch for me. That actually happened with in using these angel numbers.
Oh, cool.
And
Cool.
yeah, the salary of that job I wanted that didn't get was my angel number. And fast forward a year, my buddy actually got it. My buddy actually got the job before me. He got the job that was open. And fast forward a year, his partner got fired. And so my buddy's in there. He's like, hey, uh, this guy will come over here and no training. And the salary was my angel number. I was like,
Wow. That's cool.
I just had to go someplace else for a year that was because we had like a horrible pay cut happen. And so everybody was jumping ship. And so every man for himself. And so I went to a place that was just down the street, and it was easy. It was easier, a little bit less money, but I got to take a break with zero stress for about a year. It's like I was on vacation. Really needed it.
Well, that's good then.
So when I hopped back into that fast paced environment, I was rested. Like I still had that knowledge, but I wasn't burnt out.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy how it works. I could write a book on it, but I'm afraid people think I'm nuts. Like there's no way. You just had stroke of luck.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not worried too much anymore about what people think about
yeah,
a lot of stuff actually because everybody's going to have their own experiences and there's some of the stuff that I do. I mean, there's people that don't get it, but let me tell you, when times are tough or you have some kind of experience and then here they are at my door going, "Hey, I need some help." It's like, "Okay." So I'm not worried too much about that kind of thing.
yeah. The world's opening up more to it now anyway.
Mhm.
For
Yep.
some reason. Like used to, you couldn't talk about ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot. Everybody's like, that doesn't make any sense. Now it's like, my cousin has a Bigfoot in his backyard. I'm like, what? I've known you for 10 years. How? Like, yeah, we see him all the time. And we had a coworker whose mom is a medium and like had her on here, and she's like, yeah, this happened. And we had shadow people in our house because of it. And people were like, what? And like, this person is a respected individual. Like, they're not on meth or anything. And we have a new employee every once in a while come along. I'm like, her mom, yada yada, tell the whole story, give them the podcast, and they'll just sit and stare at it over lunch. I'm like, what? Like you can't deny it. She saw it. She's not lying.
Yep. That's cool.
It's
Yeah,
not
there's a
crazy.
lot of stuff out there that we trying to wrap our minds around.
I kind of try not to and just see what happens. I mean, not try not to wrap my mind around it, but like accept that anything could be real
Sure.
and just let it go. And maybe, and most likely, I'm saying most likely, very loosely, uh, it works the same way. Like prayer is basically energy to the universe, and it's just the effort you put towards something counts, and the suffering
Yep.
you do to get there. Like
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, so I always manifest with a rosary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and then it works. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the energy you put toward it. Maybe there's actually saints out there working. Maybe that's what a spirit guide is, a saint.
Yeah, I think they're all kind of, just call them something different. And
Mhm,
I know that there are different, it's like different levels, if you want to say it like that.
mhm.
So yeah, maybe saints and spirit guides are, I don't know, at the same level. I don't know who would be, maybe they're just in different realms. I don't know. I grew up Catholic too, and I'm not sure how that one would work, but I believe that they're all there and they're all helpful.
I think they're all working this. I think they all like work the same, close to the same way.
Hmm.
Because even like Jim Carrey has a whole manifestation video about talking to a nun back in Canada about she was old Scottish nun. She said, "I just say the rosary and ask Mary. I get whatever I want." I'm big on the patron saints. So I think there's something to those. Some of them maybe like the patron saint of like flat tires.
Oh,
Those maybe. I mean, Saint Anthony works. You know what that is? The lost
yep,
stuff.
yep.
Saint Jude. Saint Jude. I think
Mhm.
I sometimes I give him like a day off. I'm like, it's okay,
Oh,
man. You can
nice.
like I gotta quit praying to
Good.
you about everything. It's like whenever you play whenever you play the college football video game, you can't just use the goal line defense on every play. You gotta try a little bit. You gotta try to live a little. Damn.
Yeah, gotta give him a break.
Yeah, I always feel bad like knowing this dude's like if it's accurate, he's just a spirit and doesn't have any energy or anything. He said none voice. So where are you at on the like reincarnation and like past life regression?
Well,
I didn't read anything about that. I was making sure like maybe you don't do or don't support it.
oh yeah, I believe in reincarnation for sure. And that we have a lot of things that we're working on and we don't get it all done in one life, so we come back.
Mhm.
Also don't I believe that this isn't the only place we incarnate here. There's other places that I don't understand. I don't know how that works, but I think we come back um, quite a bit. And I guess there's a choice too if we come back or not. I don't think we're forced to, but I think there's other places we can go as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that from different people who are, into the spirit, not spirit guys, but past life regressions. How you come out in other worlds that aren't a death world like this. Like some say, this is the only one with this much suffering in it.
Mm, I don't think so. I mean, it- we this is hard. It's hard being here, but
Yeah,
I
it's
think
rough.
it's also pretty amazing, and there's a lot of beauty here, even in the hard stuff. But there's other places I think that we could go to that are pretty tough, but then there's some good, places that maybe don't have it as hard as here, and have as low a vibration, as we would have here, but I do believe in it.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what the whole the Christian teaching against reincarnation is, or what the purpose is, or maybe maybe it happens at like a little while after the fact, and that's why it's not in the initial teachings.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe, and again, I grew up Catholic, and so I'm not
Yeah.
speaking anything broader, and I'm not as versed in that anymore either because I've been disconnected from from it for a little while, but um I kind of wonder too because it's that you're born, you live, you go to heaven, right? And is there more that hasn't, that's been kind of cut away that goes
Mhm.
past that, kind of moves through it, that is just cut away to make it, I don't know, simpler, easier to understand, whatever, I don't know. And again, I don't know that as enough about it to speak into it, but
Yeah.
I think that it is. My personal view is that that's what it is. It's just that's a piece of the whole, is what is taught, and is just as part of a, a bigger cycle. And it's true in the sense of you're born, you live, you go somewhere else, but it's just not all of it.
Yeah, and most likely it's very likely that that part was taken out by man himself to implement control using those words.
Hmm.
Which the more I read about Catholicism, like I've always liked being Catholic, but I read about that, I'm like, God, some of this is hogwash instilled to keep people under control in the Middle Ages,
Hmm.
and it
Yep.
really hurts my feelings sometimes when I recognize it. And you know what you do, but yeah, I stick with it because it's a positive energy, and it's bare. If you separate the man-made part, that the part that everybody's first thing anybody thinks about is the child endangerment stuff, and certainly not making a lot of it. But if you strip it down to what, like, the paying your dues to the universe and you're paying your dues to society, break it down to that. It's basically, I think that's the part they want you to see. And they add all the other stuff as, this is controlling. You got money, you got the elite, the lizard people, the Jesuits. It goes really deep. Sometimes
Yeah.
my comments light up with that stuff. There's one guy, Mr. Duffy, gives me shit all the time about it. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I was just born and raised Catholic, and I like to make pancakes once a month. Like, get off me. What's he saying for sure? Oh, I thought it said something else. Yeah, I couldn't imagine going from Catholicism to shamanic ministry.
Yeah. It's not, I don't know. I don't think it's, I mean, there's differences for sure, but I
Yeah.
mean, it took me a while to kind of back out of what I had been taught, because what I was experiencing and things that were happening to me were not a part of what I was taught growing up.
Hmm.
And so it took me some time to back out of what I was taught and kind of unwrap myself from that and see that there's just more, right? And it's
Hmm.
there's more, and which allows for so many more possibilities, and it brings divine source right into you, which you don't need all the stuff to have direct communication with divine source and
Yeah.
to seek help or healing or whatever. But that doesn't mean you don't believe. I mean, I do believe in a higher power, because I've seen too many things that show me this is
Hmm.
impossible without it. So, but it's just looking at it in a different way and showing people that we each have our own divine connection, and it can be a really amazing journey if we just trust that we have direct access to that at all
Hmm.
times, and bringing that into this like earth environment. It's being involved with the elements and earth energies is very much in this shamanic way, and connected with animals and plants, and just honoring each one for the magic that they bring and the healing that they bring, and that we're all part of community. We're all connected. And so it's really been an interesting and powerful journey for sure.
Yeah, and I don't understand how anybody could be 100% completely agnostic and pay any attention to how anything works. Like, we're
Well,
just here and we're dirt. Like, I don't understand how you do that. That's got to be sad.
I mean, I understand, that sometimes I've worked with people that have come in and maybe they're just, I don't know if agnostic is the right, but wherever they're at, they're just
Hmm.
not, they just think this is it, right? And and that's okay. I think it's interesting when they end up coming to see me, because I'm like, well, if you don't think there's anything else, what are we doing? Because the first thing I'm going to do is look at spirit and say, hey, what are we doing for your highest good? You as the receiver, what are we going to do for your highest good today? And you don't think there is anything for me to ask or anyone to ask. So what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like
And I
not
think,
believing that
it's
medicine works.
what's that?
It's like they don't believe medicine works. So give me some medicine. Well,
Right, right. So, but a lot of times it's because they're out of options, and
mhm.
so they're like, I don't think there's anything else, but I don't know what else to do. I'm at the end of my rope. I've got nothing else, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, and I can't. And sometimes that's where we need to look, is in the spirit realm for answers and healing. It's interesting when something happens that someone is looking at it and saying, I can't ignore this. this just happened and I cannot ignore it because it's impossible. It's impossible for this to have happened. I've had people come in that are they'll claim to be atheist. I'm atheist. I'm like, well, here we go. What are you doing here? We're going into a Reiki session, and you don't think there's anything outside of our bodies. So what's going on? And then they'll say they're desperate, or they can't figure out where the source of their pain is or whatever. And we'll come out of a Reiki session, and I'll just tell them what I witnessed in the session. Because as a shamanic uh, minister and a shaman working in the different worlds, you have access to different informations and different types of healing that you can witness. I'm not doing it. I turn it over to divine source, but I can witness and take note, so to speak, during these sessions, so that I can let someone know. And then I'm doing on the human side of things, I'm contributing from this end. But when I explain, here's what I witnessed during your session, and we're not talking during the session, doesn't matter, if they're asleep, if they're awake, if they're daydreaming, it doesn't matter what's going on. But I'll share what I'm aware of from the session. And what's interesting is sometimes it lines up with what the person, maybe they were having a dream, or they were going on a spirit walk or out of body experience, however that worked for them. And they're just stunned, because they're saying that it's not possible for you to know what I was experiencing, because I've never experienced it. How could I have known about it? How would you know about it? And now you're telling me what just happened when we were doing the session. And so then they have to start thinking about this kind of thing, which I think is cool, because at least it gives them an opening to go through, instead of, I don't have anything to believe in, so I'm just not even going to open the door, or there's no door for me to open. So I think it's really, really interesting when that kind of thing happens. And I'm not ever trying to convert anybody or, prove anything. It's just, if this happens, maybe there's a reason that they're going to hopefully look into and maybe explore it and see where it takes them.
Yeah, it's something that'll prove itself to them. You don't need to force it along.
No, that's not my job.
Has any of the people with the more extreme, changes of heart ever followed up with you and told you how their life changed for the better after that?
Oh,
the
yeah.
the guys that believe nothing come back and like, you're not going to believe this.
Yep. Oh, yeah. They've been clients for years now and keep coming in, and, sometimes on a regular basis, and sometimes, just whenever the wind moves them. But I've had clients that will say, I didn't believe, and now they're like, I don't know what I believe in, but I believe there's something, and so that's really cool. But again, it's not my job I'm not trying to convert anyone, because I don't know that there's anything really to convert to. It's just what I do. But it's interesting when I have someone come in, and just anytime I can help someone look at things differently and, open a new door that they can explore. Doesn't mean you have to go in, doesn't matter. They don't have to hang out there forever, but just to go in and look around and maybe ask some new questions. Like, that's cool. If I can do that for someone, I love that.
That's cool. Yeah. I think whenever people realize there's an energy and a, almost like a currency exchange in the universe to your effort and to your, suffering, for lack of a better term, I think that's really an eye opener. I know it was for me. Like, if you put effort into something and ask for it and show that you really care about it, maybe even sometimes when I'm trying to manifest something, if there's something I need to purchase that would be, maybe just a little bit cost prohibitive, but it would mean that I wanted it that bad enough. If I'd make that leap of faith and make a purchase just for a piece of equipment, that what I'm asking for will actually manifest on the other side of that. Like, oh, this guy really means business. He put that in. He kind of took a little leap.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if it works that way, or maybe it's just me. Like, I'm having more confidence because I spent the money. But I feel like there's something to that, because it's pretty universal whenever I've tried it.
Well, I think that's like anybody, if you put something into it, you have some skin in the game, right?
Yeah. Skin in
That
the game's so big.
you hold yourself to something with that. And not everybody would do that. And I probably have run into that, where I did something and then I didn't follow through with it, and that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's something to that, but also to be able to call something in. Let's say you just need something, whether it's money or an opportunity or whatever. If it's a direction that you're going, one of the things that I think is really cool is just kind of surrendering to spirit. And it doesn't mean that you stop working for it, but it's also opening up possibilities. Because let's say, like for instance, I had, we all have those runs of, oh, I just don't have quite enough money to get through to the next month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a time, this was a while back, and I was really struggling, and I didn't know if I should, go get a part-time job or what I should do. And I was just like trying to figure it out. I don't know what to do. And then I stopped and I said, okay, maybe spirit can just point me in the right direction, and they'll give me a sign, and I'll do everything that I can to, watch my finances and make sure. But if I could, just get pointed in the right direction so that I know, instead of scrambling around and trying to, do things that, might not work. And I remember just turning it over to spirit and saying, okay, whatever direction I'm supposed to go, if it's to do this, get a part-time job, or to do that, or whatever, or I'll sell this, or I'll do that. And it was the weirdest thing, but I don't know, it was a week later, 2 weeks later, I got this check in the mail, and it was for my car that I had paid for, not knowing, for some. Up here in Minnesota, we have a lot of salt on the roads with the ice in the winter and stuff, right? So your cars back in the day used to rust out all the time.
Yep.
So there's rust protection, right? And apparently they sold it through these dealerships that nobody knew they were buying it. Everybody had it. It was added on to the price, whatever. Someone read the fine print, bless their soul. They read the fine print and sued the company. And all these people got checks in the mail, right? So I get this check for like $700.
Ooh,
and I'm
wow.
like, yeah, right. And this was right after I just thought, I just don't have the bandwidth to work a part-time job, but I'll do it if I have to. I don't know what else I can sell because I don't have much. What can I do? And here comes this check from, this thing that I don't even have the car anymore. And I thought,
That's crazy.
It was wild. And something else happened, and it got me through this little tough time. And I thought, okay, spirit, I get it. And I'll do the work all the time. I'm never going to turn, I'm always going to work and, work for what I have and put myself out there and share what I have when I can. And, then sometimes you just got to turn it over to spirit and say, I need some help. Show me how to do it. If it's work harder, I'll work harder. If it's whatever, just let me know and they'll help you.
Is that the equivalent to put it in God's hands?
Kind of. Yeah. Yep.
I'll go with that sometimes. If I'm just every day just throwing all this energy into prayer for something, I'm thinking, I just need to quit worrying about it, because all I'm doing, I'm basically just using my energy for worrying through doing this. And so I'm just going to put it over here.
Yep.
Usually I go about 2 or 3 weeks. I'll pray about it every day and then put it in, like you say, put it over to spirit.
Yep. It's just surrender. I was doing that a couple years ago with having to move into a new location, and I needed a different space. And so I was like, hey, spirit, if you can show me the direction to go. And, it was interesting because I will look, and I was doing all the groundwork, and I'm looking, and things weren't panning out. And I just kept trusting spirit. I'm like, I know you're going to show me the direction to go. I know this is going to, and they, I went certain directions and get to a certain point, and I'm thinking, oh, this is it. I'm super excited. And then the whole thing would fall apart. And I had to start over. And I'm like, you really? Okay. But I know you guys are going to show me the right way. And what was cool is that through all these starts and stops, the place that I ended up moving into now became ready. It wasn't there when I first started looking, and it was perfect. So I knew that, all these starts and stops were getting me to a place where I needed to be. And I knew it was spirit driven, and that was cool.
Yeah. That's so frustrating when it happens, though.
Yeah.
You have to wait like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And like all this crap happens in the middle, and you think, what is going on with my life? And all of a sudden, boom, it all clicks.
Well, I never said it was going to be easy.
Nope.
And spirit never says it either. They're like, yeah, well, we can help you. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we can help you get there. So
Not everything's a miracle. Has to be something.
yeah, we got to work. We got to work for some of our blessings, I guess, and the good stuff. We still need to work for it, and I'm okay with that. I'm good.
That's
with
part
that.
of our soul building, I think. It's part of the callousing of the, not callousing, but building up of the muscle.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating while you're here, though. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I had 4 jobs lined up. My last job was so terrible. They just toxic work environment. Great experience. That's the only thing I can say about it. Resume looks a lot better once it's done. But I had 4 jobs coming up, and they're all were sure things. In my mind, I'm like, it's just going to be which one I take. And they all started dropping like flies, like one right after another. And one of the jobs, even they had my resume was how they made the job announcement for the internet. And I interviewed for it using my resume as what I'm, and so they found somebody more qualified to be me.
Oh.
Like, what do we, like, this guy picked me out and used my resume for the job announcement. I'm that person. And I didn't get it. And I'm thinking all this fell through, and I'm just like buzzing in my mind, like, why is this happening? And a couple of weeks went by, and I got a text from an old boss that, hey, stranger, you're still looking for work? And it was like this job now that's like the best one I've had.
Nice.
I'm like, what the, why do I have to endure all that stuff falling through and meeting these people that I didn't want to talk to, going and dressing up like a monkey in a suit, you know? It's like you say the same with your apartment. It had to be ready.
Yep. It had to, it's divine timing, a lot of it, and spirit time and our time do not always line up. So there's that P word, patience, comes into play, and we've just got to learn how to work with it, because sometimes, I mean, they can be scrambling to help us out, but if we just, it's just not always going to line up, spirit time and our time. So
when it does, when it finally clicks, it clicks hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna hit.
Oh, it's one of those things. I remember when I found out I got that job, I was like leaning against the wall and fell down like I'd been shot. I was like, I leaned against the wall, and I kind of like lost all my energy on the phone. I was like, what? And they told me how much I was going to make. I'm like, what?
Nice.
It's pretty intense. Like, I still think about it anytime this job pisses me off. I'm like, remember how you felt when you heard you got it. Don't act like it's it's the horrible place to work, even though you're having a couple of bad patches, like ebbs and flows.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to know when to turn loose too.
Right. I mean, any job has its, I mean, I don't know, any job, career, whatever, that has, it's 100% perfection. There's always going to be something you have to do that's just, this is my least favorite part. But
that's all they have to pay you for do it.
Right. Or you do it for free. So it would, it's one of those things to find that balance too. You've got to find the balance of when it's too heavy on the, I can't do this anymore, this is frustrating me, then to let it go.
Yeah, I'm at one of those crossroads of this one right now, because there's like a major change coming up where it'll be a giant shift from the status quo that it's been for a few years. I'm like, do I leave now? Do I find something else, or do I wait to see what's coming up? And I'm leaving it to what'd you say? Leave it to spirit. I think that's what's coming. I've been praying about it a lot lately, and I'm just going to have to sit and wait and see.
Yep. If I was to give my opinion, I would say that's the right move.
Yeah, it's been good so far. It's it's kind of scary because you forget about it, and then when it happens, you're like, wait a minute, I put that in God's hand like 2 weeks ago, and here it is, like in my mailbox.
Yep.
That car thing is crazy though, because that didn't have to happen. The car
that legit happened. You talk about, going up against the wall and falling down the wall because you're so surprised. I think I fell into a puddle and started crying when I opened that envelope, because that couldn't have.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
There was, you had them coming all directions for that one. They were getting ready for that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like, we can't do this again, just so you know, like this is a one-time deal. And I'm like, I'll take it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not in that fashion. You had a chip on the table.
Yep.
Had some
Yep.
fate.
Yep.
Wow, you just reminded me I had something similar happen after my big pay cut. 42%, by the way.
Oh,
If
wow.
that's how I make you feel. Yeah. And like a week after it happened, we were coming home from a wing restaurant. We had two babies. One was two, one was just born about 6 months before that. And I'm trying to feed the other one. I'm riding in the passenger seat, trying to get a bottle to it. And we're on the road just down here on a curve, waiting to turn onto the street. And I see a light coming, and it's the agricultural truck, like an 18-wheeler. And I wasn't paying attention. I turned around, and like the whole cab filled with this bright light. It wasn't like a headlight bright light. Looking back, I felt like it was like a spiral. Like I say it was an angel. I don't know. It's just me. From what it felt like, it wasn't coming like this. It just illuminated, and then it rescinded back real quick, and it was the truck lights, and it hit us head on, side swipe. And we didn't get hurt or anything, because it literally just sideswiped us, like straight up, totaled the car. Like it was just totaled the car. It hit the door hard enough that my wife has arthritis in her knee, and I braced so hard I pulled a muscle on my back, and we weren't hurt, thank God. But we went to my best friend is a lawyer, and so I called him right then. I'm like, look, we just got hit by an 18-wheeler, bro. And he's like, yeah, I'll be over there in the morning. And we ended up getting like 10 or 20 grand after my pay cut. Nobody's hurt, no worse for wear. And it got us to my next job. It got us bridged the gap. I'm like, holy shit, that actually had to happen. Like, I don't want that. Like you said, we can do this again. Like, please don't do that again.
No, you don't want that one again. No.
But that was a Hail Mary shot in the dark. And when I realized after a few months what had happened, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that was, and we all got these $500 Christmas bonuses, because the guy who had to give us our pay cut, who was don't shoot the messenger kind of guy, he's like, look, he goes, everybody quit above me, so I'm the one that has to give you this. It's not me doing it. And so he was allowed to give everybody like bonuses, like, you're doing a good job, you did a certain thing. So he gave everybody a bonus for Christmas for $500. So yeah, it was pretty like they were cashing in chips for me left and right for about 6 months.
Yeah, that's wild. And I've seen that with and heard people talk about it too, with that. You talk about that bright light that doesn't come from anything. It just is, right? It's just, and it covers your entire field of vision. And it's almost like you can feel something happening in this very fast, bright white light. And every time I've heard it or seen it, it's been an angel. And they're doing something to say, not today. This is not how it's going to work out today. And
it went from that yellow headlight to the bright light, and then back in like a couple of seconds. So yeah.
Yep. Change it just enough so that you guys are okay. And you're taken care of, I mean, with the financial, thing that was happening. So that's amazing.
I think that's why that happened, is to get us through. God,
Yeah,
we were up till 5 a.m. at the emergency room, because we weren't really hurt, but we had to do that to get the lawyer told us to go do that so we could get checked out and have a case.
Well, and it's good to be on the safe side.
Yeah. You don't want to have a busted spleen.
No, you don't know about it.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, I had this muscle here because I guess I braced something. You don't know.
So fast.
It was wild. Like, and my father-in-law knew the truck driver or the owner of the company. And so we're on the side of the road, and we're just like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, this motherfucker.
What? No. Small world.
And I was in so much shock that I was like shaking hands with the guy that did it. Like, hey, glad you're okay. And my wife's like, you just said, I'm like, I was in a different universe for about an hour and a half. Okay. I don't know. I was just
in shock
on the side of the road with infants. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's wild. Well, I'm glad you guys are all okay. That's good.
Yeah, and I don't want to be. I don't mind the coupon I got that day, but I don't want to do that again. Just like your.
Nope. No, that way is not fun. And maybe they weren't intending for you to. Like, get the money, right? You think of that's why they did it, is so I can get the money. And maybe not. Maybe it was just an unrelated incident that they were altering. You have this angel that comes in that's maybe altering the outcome to say, not today. This is something that's happening. It's not supposed to happen. So we're going to shift it enough. And then here comes just an extra benefit that's just like oh, well, as long as this did happen, let's help the guy out,
Yeah,
and so.
You know what I compare it to? I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones. But
I think I'm the last person on the planet that hasn't seen it. So,
well, I'm still mourning season 8.
Okay,
but
I'll keep that in mind.
So here's like Jon Snow. I'm so sorry, but there's a group in there. They're mercenaries. I don't want to spoil it for you, but they're mercenaries and they're hitmen, basically, just a whole like secret society. And he owes one of the characters a debt because the mercenary does. And they're like real James Bondish, like they can do anything. She's like, I need this guy killed. He's like, I can't do it right here. I'm like, are you not good? She's like, are you not good at this at all? And sure enough, somehow he just makes it happen, like within the last second. That's what I think of when I think of that.
Wow.
Like the guy right before he's going to dime out, that the whole plan's going to get, just the plan's going to be destroyed because he's going to tell a certain dignitary about something. The guy opens the door and just falls down dead, like within the last second. So that's what it reminded me of.
Wow. Yeah. Well, when angels step in, anything can happen. That's the thing about it, is they've got rank they can pull. So
I think, they do some wild stuff. And I don't know if the kind of things that, this is going to get off the subject a lot, but the kind of stuff that the Skinwalker Ranch things can do, the kind of stuff that, say, ETs can do and that Bigfoot can do to a lesser extent, is like the same ability, but just on a lower scale. Get into electronics. They can get into your mind a little bit, make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bigfoot and aliens aren't omnipotent, but they can manipulate things.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the part of that that's part of the Bigfoot thing is like my favorite podcast subject. And that's the part of like, we don't see them enough. Like, no, because they can mess with things. They have psychic abilities. I didn't know if you ever dealt with that part of the squatching when you were in the middle of when you're involved with it, messing with electronics and messing with your mind and making you lose time.
No, and I do think that like the whole UFO Bigfoot thing is I think there is a connection there. Do I understand what it is? No, I don't know, but I haven't had the lost time when I've been doing any kind of Sasquatch searching. It was interesting because I was just telling the story to someone else the other day when we were doing a UFO case. Because we got called into a UFO case through our paranormal group, and within a week, I had at my house 3 Bigfoot sightings.
At your house?
Yep, my house. I had 3 Bigfoot sightings. The minute I'm on the phone talking with this client about this case, which was a UFO case, which we don't take a lot of UFO cases because that's kind of a MUFON thing, right? And other teams that strictly investigate UFO sightings. But we took it. This gal connected with me through social media. She felt like she really trusted me and she wanted me to do this. I'm like, okay. I said, well, this isn't my thing, but I'll do it for you if you want. And she's like, yes, please. And I had 2 sightings at the house. One of them was while I was on the phone with her. The first time I'm talking to her, I saw it through the window, walking past the house. And 2 days later, my stepson he was not home when I saw it. My husband was. My stepson was not. So we didn't tell him because he was little at the time and he would have been scared. And so we didn't tell him about it. 2 days later, he tells my husband what he saw. It's the exact same thing I saw. Broad daylight. 2 days later. And then a few days after that, we were in the backyard and we heard one. And there's certain vocalizations that you hear. People have recordings that nobody can figure out what it is, right? And so it's all kind of like, well, I think it's Bigfoot. And we heard in a tree in our backyard, about 50 feet away, straight up in this tree, higher than any animal could probably climb, that is big enough to make this kind of noise. And it was so loud that we could actually feel the vibration of it. like in our lungs. When you're like next to a drum and someone's beating on the drum and you can feel that vibration in your lungs. We could feel the vibration in our lungs. And this thing was so high up in this tree, 50 feet away. There's no way that any animal that we live near could make that kind of noise. And that was 3 times in 1 week while we're investigating this UFO case.
Wow. And do you live like in a rural area or?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm outside of the Twin Cities metro area, so not far, about half hour outside of the city proper. So
it's not just like a subdivision or anything.
No, we were out in the country, and we are now. We're in a different area of the country of being out here, but it's half an hour from Minneapolis, right? So this is not like you're driving for hours out in the middle of nowhere to find where I live. I mean, it's not like that. There's houses around or whatever, but a couple acres for the properties and stuff. But that was, so I totally think that there's a UFO Bigfoot connection. And for whatever reason, they knew I was doing this UFO investigation and they were coming around to, check me out, maybe show me, we're here. This is us that you're looking at. I don't know.
Did you stop investigating it or just keep going?
No, we kept going. We kept going with it. Yeah. We didn't come to any, like, we couldn't get anything investigating at her place other than when we were out at the location and where she walked outside and stood on the sidewalk out her front door, she stood on the sidewalk and she lost, I think it was 4 hours. Right. And it was the second time she had lost time in a UFO related incident. Where she was standing, she showed us where she was standing. She left. She was showing me around the property. I had 2 investigators check that area, and it's the only area on the entire residence that was reading any kind of radiation. We had a I don't know, Geiger counter or whatever, and one of the people on our team did, and it's the only location on the entire property that had any kind of reading on that piece of equipment. Is where she was standing, and she didn't know that they measured it after we left.
Wow. Yeah, the losing time thing seems to be across the board. Everybody's have a story like, wait a minute, that's been 3 hours ago.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I mean, scary. It's scary, but I guess if you don't know what happened, then you don't know if it should be scary or not. But I've seen that kind of thing too with spirit. But I think spirit, when it happens, like it can happen in a Reiki session. But it's not necessarily losing time, but it's also maybe being transported out because something bigger is needing to happen. And I know that this is one of those things when I talk about it, people are like, no, that's not real. You're making it up. And I'm like, okay, well, when it happens to you in a Reiki session, if it did happen,
it's not real.
You can decide, but I've seen it happen, and I have people that have like this. I don't know how to explain it, but this happened, and where you can take someone out of time because you need more work done. Whatever, we talked about in the beginning with Reiki being, it's for your highest good. Well, what if what's needed for your highest good needs more than we're going to do in this 1 hour session here on this planet, right? So if we just take you, move you, do whatever we need to do, and then put you right back in, we maybe had all the time in the world to do whatever we needed to do, and then put you right back in. And, I'll have people say, we'd do an hour session. They're like, that was 5 minutes. Are you kidding me? That was 5 minutes. It had to have been 5 minutes. And I'm like, nope, that was an hour, but I can see where maybe they had to take you and do something so that you come back and, they kind of put you right back in and you have no idea what time it is because you were gone.
Brought him back 2 minutes left.
Yep. So I don't know. I think it's interesting and it's cool when stuff like that happens, because it opens up more doors for us to investigate.
I think that's 100% is something that could happen with that. Take you out kind of in a press pause on you and bring you out. Do 1,500 years worth of work on you and send you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Take some quick ayahuasca.
Yeah. I want to know what I'm doing. If they're working on this person, like, you just leave me here. Like, can I just continue doing my thing, and then this person leaves and comes back. Like, that's just, it's cool.
You'll get your chips later. You got your $700. What do you want?
Yeah, I did. That was it. I got mine.
There's your payment for your overtime.
Yep.
Before I
That's
let you go, my buddy Wendell here, he's a very loyal listener here, and he's a Bigfoot witness, but he was asking about your spirit abilities and the how does it work and how does he learn it if he wants to get started practicing it maybe on a lower level.
Yeah, anybody can learn this. Anybody can learn how to work with spirit, and because we're all intuitive to some degree. Every being on this planet is intuitive. We have this, you have that sense or that feeling or, gut instinct or whatever you want to call it. So we're all connected to the divine. And so we can all learn how to work with it. I actually teach classes. I can teach one-on-one, but I teach like group classes too. And I call it developing your intuition, but really what you're doing is talking to spirit and getting guidance. And so, yeah, I teach people how to do it. And it's super cool because the stuff that I teach is super easy. It just takes the other P word that not everybody likes is practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't just being able to flip on a switch and boom, you're doing it, but it's teachable. And that's what I think is so cool is if someone wants to learn how to connect with their guides or spirit to help, receive help or information or whatever, it's totally doable. And yeah, you can go to my site and check it out there might be other people that teach it too, but I can certainly help people learn how to do that.
Yeah, it took me like 3 to 4 years to learn how to just channel what I do now, and it's like level 1. Yeah, but it's your website is myspiritexperience.com.
Yep.
And all of your stuff is in the description. Was there anything else you wanted to give out as far as how to get in touch with you or anything you got coming up?
That's about it. I've got a lot of, we're heading into fall. Paranormal investigating is a big thing in the fall. So we've got a lot of fun. If you're in the Minnesota area, we've got a lot of fun paranormal investigating classes that we're doing, and doing a lot of fun stuff around Halloween with seances and gallery readings. And I've got a haunted, it's like a pop-up shop, the haunted museum, because I'd love to have a haunted museum at some point because I've got haunted stuff, but I don't have anywhere that I can keep it out all year. So someday I will, but just over Halloween, we put it up. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff here coming up in the next few months. So,
yeah,
but all that's on my website.
It sounds like so much fun. I'm going to my first Paracon ever. This week, it'll be 1 year since I started recording for this podcast, seriously recording.
Awesome.
And so my first Paracon is going to be in Nashville on the 20th of October. And so I'm kind of fired up. I'm going to get a shit ton of cat balls and attach my business card to it and give it away for fun.
There you go. That's cool. Cat toys are good paranormal gear. That's fun.
I know. And I can put $100 in it and get all I need,
Yeah, they're not expensive. That's nice.
Probably half of them be broke because they're from Amazon.
Well, hopefully not.
Well, it's been a fun conversation, Heidi. I don't want to keep any longer. I know it's about to be frigid temps up there and the tundra. The tundra is frozen. In my mind, I think Minnesota is like 1 degree at all times, even though we've got mosquitoes the size of small blackbirds. It's like Alaska.
Yeah, you about nailed it.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thank Fritzy. We've had a pretty good turnout here. I was shocked. Ton of comments. I think half of it was AI generated, but whatever. I'll take it. I'll take the algorithm, however you get it. And thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Heidi for being on. Great chat. I needed some of that. I feel like I owe you money now. I have to send you a check.
Nope, it's all good. It was fun.
All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks Heidi.
Thank you.
Cool.